Hey guys, in today's video, we'll be learning about Google Analytics and how you can start off with Google Analytics. You will be learning about the different types of interfaces and metrics that you need to look into and the installation process. So basically, one of the things I've noticed in my time in digital and marketing overall is that a lot of people don't understand what GA is, why GA is important, and what it brings to you. To be very honest, a lot of people are actually even intimidated by the interface and don't understand half of the things that actually happen over there. So I'll take you through a small run through of how you can actually create a Google Analytics account, and let's start off with running you through the interface and what actually uh, counts within Google Analytics and what you should be looking out for. So let's start with the interface. So let's assume this is a Google Analytics account which is already sort of running and set. So you have all of these different things. So I'll go to my account over here. Done. So this is an analytics for my account. Now you have all these different sort of metrics over here. Now what's important is the interface. Now let's try and understand each one of the five elements over here and what all of them mean. So real time basically means all people who are on your website during a particular period of time. For example, if people are on a website right now, right? So I can actually go to real time. I can go to overview or locations and figure out who is on my website. Obviously, none of them will be, but the idea is you'll get an understanding here. So you'll also understand top referrals, top source social traffic. Are they coming from Facebook, Instagram? If you're using PPC campaigns and Google Ads campaigns, you can understand the keywords they're coming from. So you'll have an understanding of all of those things. You'll also understand your top referral sites and all of those things. One of the other things you can also figure is you can actually go deep dive into this map and see where they're coming from geographically. That will really help you understand a lot of things with regards to this. Now you have all of these different things. Now when you go to traffic sources, right here. So you'll have medium, source, and active users. So you'll have an understanding of what is the medium they're coming from. Are they coming from CPC campaigns? Are they coming from CPM campaigns? Are they coming from referrals on Instagram, referrals on Facebook? That's very important and key to understand. So you'll understand what's actually firing for you. Then you go to audiences. Within audiences, it's actually quite complicated. You have overview. So overview gives an understanding of everything: total number of users, new users, sessions, returning users. You have all of this information over here. Then you understand your country, city, uh, where are people coming from, or where are most of the users. Like my users are predominantly in India. Now, what distinguishes active users from normal users? So you'll have those kind of information. So you'll have information from a 28-day cycle, 14-day cycle, 7-day cycle, 1-day cycle. Yeah, all that information will be there. Now you have lifetime value here, right? Now lifetime value is more of a hardcore metric in digital. So when you're actually running e-commerce or app install campaigns and actually you're running in-app purchase campaigns, you'll have a much better understanding of all of those things over here. Then you go to demographics, interest. These things are really important for you to understand your audience. So for example, I can see between 18 and 44, my audience is predominantly in that particular part. So I can go to this, I can enable this. Now once I've enabled this, I'll get all of the insights from this. Now within interest, you can go to overview, and then you can have an understanding of the different types of affinities in market and other sort of interests for your particular audience. So then it is also categorized as per technology with regards to the devices, which also transcends into mobile, and then you have geo, which is regarding what kind of language do people speak who are coming to a website. What is where are they from? What is the location? And then you have tools like cross device attribution, custom, and benchmarking, which we'll get into in a later video. So you have all of this information here to understand your audience. It's very important, guys. A lot of people are neglecting these kind of things. It's really important to understand this stuff because it's actually really interesting. Then you go into behavior. So one of the key things you figure out in behavior is what are the key pages. For example, I have this in my website, right? It's just started now. So you have all of these different pages. So I'm actually figuring out that a lot of blogs are getting traction. They're not significant amount of traction, but still, nevertheless, something is better than nothing. So I'll just do it. I'll just improve the cycle. Now When I do this, then I'll see same 6 important metrics to track your Instagram growth. That blog has got some traction, right? Now that's a key. That's very important to try and understand these kind of things because they are basics, absolute basics. If you don't understand this, then I think it will be really difficult for you to sort of understand specifics and key things like conversions and goal attributions and all of those things. So very important to understand stuff like this. And you have, yeah, discussions and questions over here about site speed. What's the average load time? So average load time is high. I need to so it's my job to actually reduce the average load time here. Now, so I'm actually trying to figure out also between Chrome and Safari. People are coming from Safari and Chrome. Safari as a platform takes up much more of a of the server space than Chrome. So for example, when if someone is coming in from Safari, the amount of load time will be a little bit higher. How can I bring this from 27 to 5? Because that's the ideal number. How do you do that? Those kind of things are really important to understand in this, guys. And I really would encourage everybody to sort of look into these hard metrics and not look into very basic elements. Okay, just let me hide this. Very annoying. Okay. Okay. So once you're done with all of this, done with behavior, then you go into conversions, which is pretty much what we're actually trying to get into this. Before we get into conversion, it's important to understand the acquisition stage. So when you go to acquisition and overview, you'll understand all of the sources where your audience is coming from. How many are coming from direct channels? How many are coming from social? How many are coming from referrals and organic and display? There are all of these different things which will really, really help you understand this. Then there is an option over here with regards to conversions where you can set up goals. Now coming to goals, it's very interesting to understand all of these things because once you I'll actually be covering the setting up goals process in another video, but you can actually really create different layers of funnels to understand what's actually working for you. For example, my website is a uh, personal branding sort of a website, right? So let's assume for the sake of argument I'll be talking about digital marketing and marketing in general and advertising and all of these things. So people can actually come to my website to actually contact me with my phone number, all these things. Then I can actually click on continue. I can describe the goal and this can go on. We'll cover this in a later video, but this is very important to understand. So from an interface perspective, you need to have all of these checks and balances in place. Guys, really important to understand these things really help you and teach you a lot with regards to the overall marketing part of it. Now, metrics, what you need to be looking at. Now, this actually differs from from person to person. Now, I'll single out metrics which are really important as per the way I look at it. New users, really important. Users, really important. Bounce rate, really important. This should be below 40 if you are a decent website, really important. Then you have average session duration. This should be at least 4 minutes. It's actually depending on the kind of business you have, but this should be higher than this, right? You need to look at these 4 things here. You need to have a look understanding of your returning users. How many people are returning to your website? Very important to understand these things. Now, these are the 4 metrics I look at from this page. Then you have this, right? Very important to understand this. Direct, social, referral, organic, display, and the other parts of it. How much traffic, what is the behavior, how many conversions are coming from all of these things. Really important to understand. Then when you go into all traffic, then you go into source and medium of the conversions, then it's important to understand where is your source coming from. This look at its dashboard. It's so clear and so concise. It gives you a complete understanding of all of the things that we need to be looking at. Direct channels, referral channels, double click channels, all of these things. Very important to understand. So I'm doing Instagram stories also. You'll understand what kind of audience is coming from that. I have my Wix, my website is built on Wix. So you'll have an understanding of people, how many people are coming from Wix referrals. Very important to understand these things, guys. If you understand these basic metrics, then you can move into hardcore metrics with regard to conversions, where you can actually understand truly how e-commerce works, how multi-channel funnels work, and how you can set up goal tracking. So these things are really key to understand. And once you have a thorough grip on these things, then you can actually go into a more advanced sort of version of Google Analytics. Very important to understand these things. Now, the other question, or to be very honest, the most basic question is how do you install a GA? How do you install a Google Analytics account? Now, basically, when you go over here, yeah, go to admin, right? Then you have different types of properties here. Now, I want to create a new property, so I'll select this. I'll say web, I'll say continue, I'll say a website name, whatever. Okay, www.abc.com. It doesn't make sense. Okay, and some name I'll give it, and then I'll just replicate this here, and then I'll select an industry, and then create. Right? I know it doesn't make sense, but that's the point. So if it doesn't make sense at the end of the day, I'll have to cancel the account. So that's pretty much how it works. So now when you have this tracking ID, you can actually go to your e-commerce setup. You can actually put it right over there, or you can send someone, because those things are pretty automated. If you want to get into higher level stuff, you can actually go to connected site tags, and you can send this code to your developer, or you can have it implemented in the header page of the Google Analytics and certain web pages in your backend. So once you have all of this done, you'll have a Google Analytics page set up. Very important to understand these things, guys. It's very simple. It's very easy. Now, let me just go back to this page to understand uh, these things slightly better. Now, when you're in this page, you have all of these different things here. Now, I will go back to digital tour because that's what makes sense. Now, you can link it to your Google Ads account, right? You can have ad exchange linking. Along with all of these things, you can also have the attribution part of it sorted. Now, I don't want to get into attribution because this is a different topic and a very, very controversial and a lengthy topic amongst marketers. We'll cover this in a different sort of a discussion. Um, but it's very important to understand these basics of setting up your account. Now, if you want to give someone access, you have this information. This will give an understanding of who has access to this account and all of those things, right? Now, if anybody's made any change to your account, you'll have all of these details. I created this ABC website. I viewed this property, created all of those things. Very important to understand these things. Basics. These are bare basics. If you don't know this, then there's no point of going on. So, in interface, metrics, installation. These three are pretty much the founding principles of Google Analytics to understand the dashboard clearly and concisely with regards to what makes sense, what doesn't make sense, what you should be looking out for, and what is most useful for a business. Obviously, there are different businesses, B2B, B2C, and within B2C and B2B, there are different types of businesses which have different types of metrics that are important. But to sort of reinstate and put forward that point again, number one, figure out how many active users you have on a website in a particular month, right? Once you have that information, try and understand your bounce rate. Very important from a general website standpoint. You want to know how many people are exiting a website at that particular time period. Then you have session duration. It needs to be going up month on month. You need to be creating content on the website which actually enables that. If you're doing ads, nothing like it, right? How many people are coming from referrals? All of those things. How many people are coming from different types of mediums? Very important to understand those things. So once you have all of these checks and balances in place, then you have user retention. How many people are you retaining? So, for example, for e-commerce and app and for e-commerce and for e-commerce and app type websites or apps, it's extremely important to understand these things. Week 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. How many have you retained, right? If you don't understand these things, you can't understand your business because, to be honest, your entire business is on GA. So, very important to understand these three principles. In the next session, I think we'll be talking a little bit more about advanced analytics on GA as well as goal conversions, goal tracking, and attributions. So until then, let me know what your thoughts are on this video. And if you want any specific questions or anything, like the video and subscribe to my channel. And we'll meet next time.